الله محمد رسول الله لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله
وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين أما بعد إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. Our brother read the Sharif. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. أستغفر الله إن الله غفور رحيم. أستغفر الله إن الله غفور رحيم. أستغفر الله إن الله غفور رحيم. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. Respected ulama ikram, respected elders and brothers, great blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That Allah has given us the tawfiq to come to the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and take part in this blessed majlis. This is from the sheer tawfiq and the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمَا تَوْفِيقِي إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ. For everything we do, every amal we do, this is from the permission and the tawfiq from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And all the credit, all the praise, all the hamd and sana goes back towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. If it wasn't for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's tawfiq, we would not be able to be sitting here today in the masjid. When it's our day off, we can be relaxing with our family, we could be going out for meals, we could be socializing with our friends. But we've sacrificed that bit of rest that we get from work, from our businesses. We've sacrificed that few hours for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For that indeed is a great blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these majalis, these bayans, these programs, why do we have these? What is the purpose behind these? What is the reason we have these? Is it just so we come together for a few hours, we meet and greet each other, we have a bit of food and then we go back to our normal life? If this is the reason, then we do not really understand and we have not fully grasped the importance of these majalis. It's mentioned once the Prophet ﷺ, he was walking past in the Masjid al-Nabawi and he saw a group of Sahaba sat down together. There was a group of Sahaba, they were sat down discussing something. So the Prophet ﷺ inquired to them that, what are you discussing, what are you talking about? Why are you sat like this in a gathering? So the Sahaba replied, we are doing two things. The first thing we are doing, we are remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are doing Allah's dhikr, we are remembering Allah. And the second thing we are doing is that we are thanking Allah. Allah gave us guidance towards Islam. So we are doing tahdith al-ni'mat. We are thanking Allah for the ni'mat of deen, for the ni'mat of iman. So the Prophet ﷺ said to them, do you take an oath in Allah that you are only sitting for this reason? So the Sahaba goes, yes, we definitely take an oath by Allah that we are only sitting for these two reasons. To remember Allah and to thank Allah for hidayat towards Islam. So the Prophet ﷺ said, the reason I took an oath from you, the reason I took qasam from you is not that I do not trust you, that I do not believe in you. The reason I took an oath in you, that as I was entering the masjid, Jibreel alayhi salam came to me and he said to me, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, go and sit with those people. Go and sit with those people and tell those people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is doing fakhr, Allah is praising them, Allah is boasting about these people in front of the malaika. So these gatherings and these majalis, there are many benefits. I'll just say a few benefits for you. The first benefit is that we're sitting in the gardens of Jannah. We're sitting in the gardens of Jannah. That's the first benefit. The Prophet ﷺ said, whenever there's a halqa, whenever there's a gathering where Allah's dhikr is facing, these are rawdatun min riyad al-Jannah. These are the gardens from the gardens of paradise. So it looks like a normal building, four walls, carpet, but in reality, these are the gardens of Jannah in the dunya. That's the first benefit. The second benefit is we have just prayed our salah with Jamaat, alhamdulillah. And we're doing intizar salah, we're waiting for Asr namaz inshallah. So every moment we sit here waiting for Asr namaz, we get the reward of praying namaz, even though we're just sat here. The third benefit is the malaika have surrounded us. The malaika have surrounded us. And they make a pile, one upon another, all the way to the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then a conversation happens between them and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the result of that conversation is every single person who sits in this gathering, Allah will forgive their sins inshallah. And this gathering will not be hasrat. This will not be a regret for them on the day of Qiyamah. Because on the day of Qiyamah, every moment we spent in the dunya without Allah's remembrance, that will be a regret for us. But alhamdulillah, these few hours that we're going to spend in the masjid now, this will not be a regret for us on the day of Qiyamah inshallah. The fourth benefit is the malaika make dua for us while we're sitting in this majlis. Allahumma ghfir lahu, Allahumma arhamhu. Oh Allah, forgive this person. Oh Allah, have mercy upon this person. Oh Allah, if this person's got any hajat, Allah, you fulfill that hajat, you fulfill that demand from him. The fifth benefit is when a person sits in a majlis, then his iman increases. His iman becomes more mazboot and strong. And this gives him hidayat for the rest of his life inshallah. And one of the other benefits for the youngsters is when the youngsters come and sit in the majlis of the deen, they sit with the ulama, they listen to the words of the ulama, this creates the muhabbat, the love of Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in the hearts of the youngsters. Nowadays our youngsters, they have the love of the pop stars, the love of the film stars, the love of the football players in their hearts. And they want to follow in their footsteps, they want to dress like them, they want to walk like them, they want to act like them. But when we come in the majlis of the deen, when we come in the majlis of the masjid, we listen to the ulama, we listen about the stories of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we listen about the stories of the Sahaba, we listen to the tilawat of the Quran. This will increase our muhabbat for Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we're all going to sit inshallah till Maghrib namaz inshallah. There will be a full program after, the main speech in English will be after Asr Salah inshallah. This will take us to Maghrib. So our first guest is Qari Khuzaimah Umar. He's from Bradford, Leeds. He's student of Shaykh Ahmed Ali, and he's going to do some tilawat of the Quran for us inshallah. So all brothers listen carefully. Come forward, fill in the gaps please, and listen carefully inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وسيق الذين اتقوا ربهم إلى الجنة زمرا حتى بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وسيق الذين اتقوا ربهم إلى الجنة زمرا حتى إذا جاءوها وفتحت أبوابها وقال لهم خزنتها سلام عليكم حتى إذا جاءوها وفتحت أبوابها وقال لهم خزنتها سلام عليكم طبتم فادخلوها خالدين وقالوا الحمد لله وقالوا الحمد لله الذي صدقنا وعده وفتحت أبوابها وقال لهم خزنتها سلام عليكم طبتم فادخلوها خالدين وقالوا الحمد لله وقالوا الحمد لله الذي صدقنا وعده وأورثنا الأرض نتبوأ من الجنة
So many brothers say to us that they never used to smoke before, but because their friends smoke, they started smoking as well. And smoking is just the first stage. Smoking is just the first stage. Then that smoking leads on to the weed. Leads on smoking the weed, the waki-baki we call it. Then it leads on to other stuff. It leads on to alcohol as well. It leads on to taking drugs as well. There are so many youngsters who would never ever think of taking drugs, taking alcohol, taking weed when they're in college. But as soon as they get to university, they'll start taking it. They'll start drinking alcohol. They'll start taking drugs. Why is that? For the first 16, 17, 18 years of their life, they never touched it. They never thought of doing it. But because of the bad company, they'll start doing it. 15, 16 years of their life, they never had girlfriend. They never had boyfriend. But as soon as they get to university, they start boyfriend and girlfriend chapter. Why is that? Because if everyone else is doing it, why should I feel left out? Why can't I do it as well? So the most important thing that will improve and will protect our iman in this life and in the next life is suhbah, brothers. Put this inside our children that they are first thing, they are Muslim first. This is our identity. We are not George, we are not John, we are not Richard. We are Muslim, alhamdulillah. The first thing is our identity, we are Muslim. The second thing is that we are ummah of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And third thing is that we are responsible, that whatever we do, this will have an effect in our later life, inshallah. And this will have an effect in our akhirah as well. So we have to come regularly to the masjid, inshallah. Read our namaz regularly in the masjid. Go with the tabligh jamaat regularly in the suhbat of the good people. Stay in the company of the person who does namaz. Even if you only have one friend and that friend is a namazi person, Allah will protect you for the rest of your life, inshallah. Stay in the company of a namazi person. A person who reads namaz regularly, stay in his company, stay with that person. Go shopping with that person, go for meals with that person, go chilling with that person. Because when it's namaz time, he's going to read namaz himself and he'll remind you to read namaz as well. Stay away from the suhbat of a person who is bare namazi. A person who does not read salah, who is not bothered about salah, don't stay in his company. Because the Prophet, as Umar radiallahu ta'ala says, the person who is not bothered about his salah, he is not bothered about the deen. The person who is not bothered about salah, he is not bothered about deen. Because salah is the only thing you do 5 times a day. That is the only thing you do 5 times a day. And if you're not bothered at least 5 times a day to remember Allah, you're not going to remember Allah for 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, it's nothing for you. First thing is stay in the suhbat of a person who is namazi. A person who reads namaz, stay in his suhbat. The second thing is stay in the suhbat of a person who tells the truth. Do not stay in the company of a lying person, of a cheating person. And the third thing is stay in the company of that person who apparently you can see he has a sunnah in his life. His actions are according to the sunnah. His actions are according to the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Stay in the company of that person. These 3 qualities, if we have these 3 qualities in a friend, that person is a good friend. Apart from these 3 qualities, there is no other qualities of a good friend. Doesn't matter how much money, doesn't matter how much he treats you, doesn't matter how much he does favors for you, doesn't matter how much he helps you in sticky situations, that is not a sign of a good friend. That is not a sign of a good friend. The sign of a good friend are only 3 that I've mentioned. He does salah regularly, he tells the truth, and he follows the sunnah. These 3 qualities are the qualities that we should look inside for our friends. And we have to stay away from bad company. Stay away from those people who drive around in cars all night, all day, all night. You see one brother, he's got, mashallah, nice car, he's driving up and down Frederick Road. Up and down, up and down. I said, brother, give me that petrol money, I'll go treat myself. Why are you wasting your petrol money for? Why are you wasting your time up and down, driving all night? They'll drive all the way to Manchester just to get a dessert. Drive all the way to Bradford just for a dessert. That time you could spend with your mother, your father, your family. That time you could spend in other productive things. So stay away from those people who waste their time, they've got no objective of life. Their life is just chilling all the time. These people will ruin your habits. And another thing is, because there's a lot of youngsters here, I want to mention khidmat of the parents is very important. We have to do khidmat of our parents. Our parents are our ticket to Jannah, inshallah. If a person does khidmat of his parents, then even if his namaz is weak, his tilawat is weak, his other a'mal are not that strong, but because of the khidmat of his parents, Allah will forgive the rest of the things, Allah will enter him into Jannah. Because of the khidmat of the parents. And a person who's, mashallah, front line musalli, and he does khatam every day, and he goes umrah every year, and he's got a long beard, mashallah, and he's big shaykh. But if he doesn't do the khidmat of his parents, that will not help him on the day of Qiyamah. Because after Allah in the Quran mentions, after Allah's right, after worshipping Allah, the second thing Allah mentions is وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا, to do goodness towards the parents. If namaz and zakat and hajj and umrah and all these other actions, they are all important. But when you compare it to the parents and the hukuk of the parents, there's no comparison. Because when a person is in namaz and is in salah, if his mother and father calls him and he knows in his mind there is no one else there to help his mother and father, there's no one else in the house, and his mother and father calls him in whilst he's doing namaz, he has to break his namaz and go to his parents. That's the rights of the parents. So imagine how important it is for us to do the khidmat of our parents. The parents are not going to stay for long, obviously. Everyone has to taste death. So whilst the parents are alive, we have to do khidmat of our parents. We have to do the service of our parents. Any action the parent tells you, as long as the action is not haram, it is wajib for you to do the action. Any action the parent tells you, as long as it's not haram, you have to do the action. Whether you like it or whether you don't like it. Whether you're comfortable with it, whether you don't like it. Whether you accept it or not, you have to obey the parents. The Prophet ﷺ said that Al-Jannatu tahta aqdamil ummahat, that Jannah lies under the feet of the mother. Meaning, if you do the khidmat of your mother, and you help your mother, and you do the service of your mother, and your mother dies in the situation that she's happy with you, then that will be your ticket to Jannah, inshallah. The next hadith, Ridha al-Rabb fi Ridha al-Walidi, that the happiness of Allah lies in the happiness of the father. And the father is the gate towards Jannah. If the father, when he dies, is happy with you, then that will be your ticket to Jannah, inshallah. But we disappoint our parents and we upset our parents with little things. And the parents need to understand that they should not put too much pressure on the children as well. It's a two-way thing. The children have to respect their parents. The children have to obey the parents. But the parents cannot use their children just as a cash machine. Parents should not use their children just as slaves or as put pressure upon them. A lot of parents, they put so much difficult pressures on their child that they ruin the future of the children. They ruin the future of the children because of some awkward things they put on their shoulders. So this is something we have to keep in mind, brothers. Life is something which is not very long. This is a very, very short life. And if we follow the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, and we follow the ahkam of Allah, and we follow the Quran, and we follow the sunnah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give us hayatan tayyibah. Allah will give us good life in the dunya, and Allah ta'ala will give us good life in the akhirah as well, inshallah. So the holiday time now, we have to make sure that there's one brother, he brings his 2 children every day to Fajr, mashallah. I won't mention the name. They're only 7, 8 years old, but they come every day Fajr namaz with their father, mashallah. How many parents are of us not coming Fajr namaz? And our children are 7, 8, 9 years old, they're not reading namaz as well. We need to come salah ourselves, we need to bring our children with namaz as well. When the child is 7 years old, then you have to tell him about namaz. You have to teach him namaz, you have to make sure he does his namaz. And when he gets to 10 years old, and if he does not do his namaz by the age of 10, you have to be even more strict with him. Our children are 13, 14, 15 years old, they're not reading the namaz. And then we complain, my child's not reading the namaz. But from the age of 6, 7, did you teach him about namaz? No. Did you bring him to the masjid with you? No. Did you tell him anything about namaz? No. So when he gets to 16, how is he going to read namaz? How is a person going to read namaz at 16 if you're not ready at the time of 5 and 6 and 7? Look at the hikmah of the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet ﷺ has got hikmah in his words. He says, teach the child at the age of 7. Why? Why 7? He's not even valid at 7. You don't even have to read namaz. But why are you teaching him at the age of 7? And why are you being strict at the age of 10? The reason is that by the time he gets to bulugh, by the time he becomes a teenager, he's already got the habit of namaz. What we do wrong is that when the child gets to 15, we start beating him. Read namaz, read namaz. When he's 15, 16, it's too late. It's never too late, but when you look at the development of the child, it's too late. If we started at the age of 6 and 7 and 8, then when the child is 13, 14, already it's in his habit. It's already in his blood to read namaz. That's why the Prophet ﷺ said, teach your children at the age of 7. Look at the hikmah of the Prophet ﷺ. He is the biggest hakim and the biggest person of wisdom. He knew, Allah Ta'ala inspired in his heart how the children will act, how the humans will act, the psychology of humans. This was all inspired in the heart of the Prophet ﷺ. So this is something, brother, you have to understand this. Don't worry, this is not the main bayan, this is just me going on rant. The main bayan after Asr Namaz, inshallah. So these are just a few things I wanted to mention to you because there's no opportunity to get like this. MashaAllah, when we do Jummah Namaz, it's 1.5 musallis here. And the rest of the brothers come slowly. So this is a good opportunity, MashaAllah, a lot of the brothers are here. I just wanted to mention a few things that we've heard from our teachers. So youngsters, it's very important that we understand that coming to namaz regularly, reading our namaz at a young age, this will get us in the habit of our namaz for the rest of our life, inshallah. The second thing is income. Youngsters should not worry about their income in the future. A lot of youngsters, they have this thing in their mind that what am I going to become, what job am I going to get, how much money am I going to earn, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do this. And then there's pressure from the parents as well. As soon as they get to the age of 16, 17, go in the restaurant, go to the job, go do this, go do that. So you're putting your child at the age of 16, at the age of 17 in an environment of haram. You're putting your child at the age of 16, 17 in a restaurant where they're selling alcohol. You're putting your child in the age of 16, 17 in an environment where there's haram happening. And you expect your child to become Abdul Qadir Jilani. You expect your child to become Wali of Allah. Why do we put that pressure on our children to earn in a haram way? We should put the pressure in a halal way. If there's a halal takeaway, if there's a shop which is selling clothes, if there is other businesses there is in a halal way, we should encourage our children to go there. Because being lazy and sleeping until 12 o'clock in the afternoon, this is not good as well. The children should have some sort of part-time job, or if we're wealthy enough, we make the children do the work at home and then we give them the money. If Allah has given us wealth and Allah has given us mal, alhamdulillah, then we make the children, or we advise them that you do the dishes at the home, you do the house chores, you help your mother with the shopping, I will give you £20 a week. I will give you £30 a week. That's your earnings. Because you're doing khidmat in the house, I will pay for you. If you've got wealth, that's one way you can do. If you haven't got wealth and you haven't got enough, then you can give your child for work, you can give your child in weekends, part-time, but do not make sure that your child does not go in a haram environment. Remember, working with alcohol is haram, whether you like it or not. Working with alcohol is haram. Serving alcohol is haram. Carrying alcohol is haram. Producing alcohol is haram. All the jobs connected with alcohol are 100% haram. Not just haram in 5%, 10%. Allah's Prophet ﷺ has given la'nat upon that person who gets involved in alcohol. So we have to get away from this. We're still in the 1960s, 70s, working in restaurants. We need to get away from this, and we need to go into the education sector. We need to go into the NHS. We need to go into teaching. Our youngsters should become teachers. Our youngsters should become accountants, pharmacists, doctors. Push our youngsters towards that field. Take our youngsters out to the restaurants, inshallah. So I make this effort, inshallah. So these are some things that we have to understand. That we should never pressure someone when it comes to income. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has fixed the rizq of every single person before he's even come in the dunya. Before a person is even born, every single particle of air, oxygen, water, food, everything has been fixed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One person was mentioning a story that his father was very ill. His father was very well. He was a very healthy man. And one morning he said to his son, "Can you make me some boiled eggs and tea?" So his son made the tea, made the boiled egg. And he went upstairs and gave it to his father. A few moments later, he saw that it's half an hour was gone. My father's still not come downstairs. He went upstairs and he saw his father with the egg in his mouth and he's died. The boiled egg is in his mouth and he's died. So what does that show? That egg was not in his father's wrist. That egg was not in his father's qismat. So what does that prove to us? That proves that Allah Ta'ala has written everything for us. We cannot have a single luqma more than what Allah has written for us. We cannot. A person cannot swallow anything which Allah has not written for him. So we should not make that much parishani and we should not make that much musibat for the dunya. Whatever Allah, we have to make mehnat, we have to make effort in a halal way. And we don't become parishan. It comes in a hadith, a person who wakes up in the morning and his only worry is the dunya. His only worry and concern is, what am I going to earn today? What am I going to eat today? How am I going to make profit today? That's his only concern in the morning. That person, his rest of his day, he will become very far away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our first concern in the morning should be, is my iman salamat? Have I still got my iman, alhamdulillah? I'm going to read my 5 namazes today. I'm going to do tilawat today. I'm going to do khidmat of my parents today. I'm going to learn some deen today. And I'll earn my money as well, and I'll earn my risk as well on the go by. But my main concern should be my deen. So that's enough of me, inshallah, for today. Now we have Moulana Aminul Islam sir. He will say a few words in Bangla, inshallah, for the Bengali speaking people. I've surprised him with the movement. Okay. His Imam of one of our local Masjid, Masjid. So he will give bayan for 15 minutes, then there will be Asr Nawaz, inshallah. And after Asr Nawaz, Shaykh Mumtaz will give his main bayan, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulihil kareem. Amma ba'd, fa'a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Qala Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, yaghtanim khamsa qabla khamsin. Lamba hadis. हुज़ूर सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने फरमाया, यग़तनिम खम्सा क़ब्ला खम्सिन, शबाबका क़ब्ला हरमिका व सिह्हतका क़ब्ला सक़मिका व ग़िनाअका क़ब्ला फ़क़रिका व फ़िराग़का क़ब्ला शुग़लिका व हयातका क़ब्ला मौतिका। كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala আমরা আজকে এটা মহতি মজলিস জিকরের মজলিসের মধ্যে আওয়ার তৌফিক দিয়েছেন আলহামদুলিল্লাহ। এই হাদিসের মধ্যে এসে যে একটা মজলিস জিকরুল্লাহ মজলিস, এটা আল্লাহ সুবহানাহু ওয়া তাআলার কাছে এত গুরুত্বপূর্ণ, এত ইম্পর্টেন্ট। এই হাদিসের মধ্যে হুজুরে ফরমায় কাল কিয়ামতের মাঠে আল্লাহ সুবহানাহু ওয়া তাআলা ওই সমস্ত মানুষ যারা ওয়াজ নসিহত মজলিস ও জিকির ও মজলিস আয়া বই, কিয়ামতের মাঠে হন তার একটা নূর মিম্বর দে হইব, ওকে সুবহানাল্লাহ। আর মিম্বরের মধ্যে বইবা তারা চেহারা, তারা শরীর ওই সৌদি আরবের চাঁদের মতো জলজলে করতে থাকবে, ওকে সুবহানাল্লাহ। সকল নবী রাসূল হলে দেখিয়া তারা ঈর্ষা করবে, ঈর্ষা হওয়া যায়। সুবহানাল্লাহ, এত বড় মর্যাদা, এই নতুন আরো কোনো নবী নাকি তাই যদি চিনি না দিয়ে দিলে, তখন তারা হই ওই তো কোনো নবীও নাই, কোনো সাহাবীও নাই, এর আগে নবীর উম্মতি, কিন্তু তাই যেখানে ওয়াজের মজলিস হইতো, জিকিরের মজলিস হইতো, তাই যখন বইটা যাইতা আর ও উদ্দেশ্য দিয়ে যাইতা একমাত্র আল্লাহর মহব্বত লেগে যাইতা দুনিয়ার কোনো উদ্দেশ্য নাই ইনো গিয়া খাইবার লাগে না বড় খালি বা আজকে ফার্স্ট মসজিদের লেগে যাইতা না এটা নাই একমাত্র আল্লাহর রাজি খুশি করবার লাগে আল্লাহ সন্তুষ্টি করবার লাগে যাইতা আল্লাহ সুবহানাহু ওয়া তাআলা তানকে এত মর্যাদা দান করবে কিয়ামতের মাঠে সুবহানাল্লাহ আই ওয়াজের কোনো কিমত নাই কোনো দাম নাই আই যদি স্ক্যান্ডালের মধ্যে যদি বড় যদি নাউজুবিল্লাহ গানের পার্টি হইতো ব্যান্ড পার্টি হইতো আর গান বাজনা হইতো এই টাউনে কোনো মানুষ বড় বেটি পর্যন্ত বাজে এখন বলি তাহলে নাউজ শয়তান আছে না নি শয়তান যদি আমরা দুশমন আল্লাহ পাক ফরমায় লুকাই দুশমন আর একটা হলো লুকাই দুশমন এটা প্রকাশ্য দুশমন শয়তান আমরা প্রকাশ্য দুশমন হে চায় না নামাজ পড়তে হে চায় না ইবাদত করতে হে চায় না মসজিদে গিয়ে নামাজ পড়তে হে চায় মানুষের গুমরাহ করতে আল্লাহ কিছু ওয়াদা নিয়েছে যাই হোক আমি এদিকে যাইলাম না সময় আমি যে হাদিস করছি এই হাদিস আমি সংক্ষেপে আমি অবগত হইতাম চাইলাম আল্লাহ নবী সাল্লাল্লাহু আলাইহি ওয়াসাল্লাম ফরমায় ওই পাঁচটা জিনিস আইবার আগে আগে পাঁচটা জিনিসের কদর করো সুবহানাল্লাহ আল্লাহ নবী সাল্লাল্লাহু আলাইহি ওয়াসাল্লাম যেগুলো হইয়া গেছে 1400 বছর আগে একবারে 100% এক সরিষার দানা পরিমাণ কোনো ধরনের কোনো হেরফের নাই এটা বাস্তবে যে ওইব যা হইয়া গেছে তা বাস্তবে হইব আল্লাহ নবী হয়ে গেছে আখেরি জমানা এমন সময় আইব মানুষের ঈমান রাখা অতটুকু কষ্ট হইব একটা আগ্নির লুক্কা আগ্নির আংরা আতর গাতার মধ্যে রাখা যতটুকু কষ্ট হইব এর চাইতে বেশি কষ্ট হইব আখেরি জমানার মানুষের ঈমানকে বাঁচাইয়া রাখা জমানা আইছে না কত জাতর বিপদা শুরু হয়েছে কত জাতর না আই মোবাইল বাড়িয়েছে এতে ফেসবুক বাড়িয়েছে এতে হোয়াটসঅ্যাপ বাড়িয়েছে আরে বাবা ফুয়ার বাবার লাগে মাত্র সময় নাই বাপে ফুয়ার লাগে মাত্র সময় নাই খালি হোয়াটসঅ্যাপ মারতে আছে না কোরআন তিলাওয়াত করে না জিকির করে না খালি হোয়াটসঅ্যাপ আর ফেসবুক ওকে নাউজুবিল্লাহ এগুলা শয়তান কয় তোমরা কিতাবে আমি তো তোমরা ফেটো দিতে না আমি বলতাছি শয়তান আমরা ফেটো দিতে একবারে শ্বাস-প্রশ্বাসের মধ্যে শয়তান আমি বইতাছে ইয়া বইছে না শয়তান ঠিক আল্লাহ নবী সাল্লাল্লাহু আলাইহি ওয়াসাল্লাম ফরমান পাঁচটা জিনিস এইবার আগে পাঁচটা জিনিসের কদর করো এক নম্বর শাবাবকা ক্বাবলা হারামিকা বুড়া কি আইবার আগে তোমার জওয়ানির তুমি কদর করো সুবহানাল্লাহ কারণ আজ যদি আমার জওয়ানি থাকতে যদি নামাজ পড়ি না জওয়ানি থাকতে যদি বন্ধু করি না বুড়া আর বাজে আদত দলে পারবো করতাম মসজিদে যাইতাম যদি জওয়ান থাকতে পারি না তো বুড়া হইলে যেতে পারবো নি আর শয়তানের এখানে উল্টা শয়তানে হয় এবো বেটা তুমি ফুয়াও বিয়া দিছো না বুঝিও বিয়া দিছো না এবো তুমি জওয়ান থাকতে বেটা দিছো কি তাহলে মসজিদে যাই তুমি মসজিদে যাই না ওকে নাউজুবিল্লাহ হঠাৎ করে যদি আজ মানে 30 বছর 40 বছর এই ওয়ার্ল্ডের মধ্যে ও কয়েকদিনের ভিতরে 30 বছর মেয়ে মারা এখন মা মারা গেছে বাচ্চার মা আরো 30 বছর 25 বছর 30 বছর মানুষ দৌড় দৌড়িয়ে ক্যান্সার বিমারে মারা যাইতে আছে আল্লাহ নবী ফরমান কোন তোমার যে জওয়ানি দিছে জওয়ানি তুমি খামো লাগাও খামো কিটা আল্লাহর ইবাদত বন্দেগীর মধ্যে লাগাও সুবহানাল্লাহ আল্লাহ নবী ফরমান ইয়া তাসিল ক্বাবলা 50 শাবাবকা ক্বাবলা হারামিকা ওয়া সিহহাতাকা ক্বাবলা সাকামিকা আল্লাহ তন্দুরস্তি দিছেন শরীর ভালো রাখছো আল্লাহ তাআলা নে সিহহত ইচ্ছা সিহহত দিয়া কোন ভালো সিহহত শরীর তন্দুরস্তি তাহার সময়ে তোমার এই তন্দুরস্তি তুমি আল্লাহর ইবাদত বন্দেগীর মধ্যে লাগাও যদি বেমারি আইব যখন ক্যান্সার হয়ে যাব ডায়াবেটিস হয়ে যাব বড় বেমার হয়ে যাব তখন তুমি নামাজ পড়তে পারতে না মসজিদে যেতে পারতে না আল্লাহ নবী করে তুমি সময়টাকে তুমি শরীর ভালো রাখতে তোমার শরীরকে আল্লাহর ইবাদত বন্দেগীর মধ্যে লাগাও ওয়াসিহহাতাকা ক্বাবলা সাকামিকা ওয়া গনাআকা ক্বাবলা ফাকরিকা ওখান ধন সম্পদ আছে এগুলো আল্লাহর রাস্তায় দাও দেয়া খরচ করো করি আল্লাহর সন্তুষ্টি অর্জন করো আল্লাহর মহব্বত নাও গরিব হয়ে গেলে কি আর পারতে না টাকা পয়সা করতে হয় সুতরাং পয়সা টাকাকালীন সময় তুমি আল্লাহর রাস্তায় খয়রাত করো সুবহানাল্লাহ ওয়া ফিরাগাকা ক্বাবলা শুগলিকা এবার আল্লাহ নবী ফরমান ও আমার উম্মতি হল এখন সময় আছে তোমার সময়টা তুমি খামো লাগাও সময়টারে আল্লাহর ইবাদত বন্দেগীতে লাগাও তুমি যখন বিজি হয়ে যাবা তুমি যখন তোমার মাঝে খালি বলে আমি বিজি সরে জিগাইলে ওয়াজ হইবে না ভাই সময় না আমি বিজি ওবা মসজিদে ওয়াজের টাইম গেছে না সময় না আমি দিয়ে থাকি খামো দিতে নি হাসানা মিসা আল্লাহ নবী ফরমান সময়টা আসতে তোমার সময়রে আল্লাহ ইবাদত বন্দেগীর মধ্যে খাটাও ওয়াসিহহাত ও শুগুলিকা ক্বাবলা হারামিকা ক্বাবলা শুগুলিকা ওয়া হায়াতিকা ক্বাবলা মাউতিক। शेष रसूल ने फरमाया अल्लाह ताला जो हयात दिया है इस हयात को अल्लाह के और बंदगी में लगाना, मरने से पहले पहले। मरा আমরা কোনদিন আমরা সে মরমু জানি না, আমরা ওকে কেউ আসুন নিয়ে জানবো বলা যে আমি অমুক দিন মারা যাই, আল্লাহ আমরা জানাই কিছু। সুতরাং আমি আর 50 বছর বাদে মরবো, মরলে আমি আবার বন্দিগি করবো, ইলাকার কাছে কোনো গ্যারান্টি আছে নি, সার্টিফিকেট আছে নি, সেরকম নেই। আল্লাহ নবী সাল্লাল্লাহু আলাইহি ওয়াসাল্লাম ফরমায় মরবার আগে আগে তোমার এই হায়াতে জিন্দেগি হায়াত যে আল্লাহ দিয়েছেন এটা খামো লাগাও। সুবহানাল্লাহ। খামো কিটা আল্লাহ সুবহানাহু ওয়া তাআলা ফরমায় ওমা খালাকতুল জিন্না ওয়াল ইনসা ইল্লা লিয়াবুদুন, তোমারে আমি সৃষ্টি করেছি একমাত্র আমার ইবাদত বন্দেগি করতে। ওই জন্য আয়াতের মধ্যে আল্লাহ ফরমায় আল্লাযী খালাকাল মাউতা ওয়াল হায়াতা লিয়াবলুয়াকুম আইয়ুকুম আহসানু আমালা। এই দুনিয়ার মানুষ আমি তোমারে প্রায় হায়াত দিছি, মৌত দিছি। হায়াত উদাহরণে দিছি সে ভালো আমল করো, সে বাদ আমল করো, সে বেস্ট আছে নোটিও অর্থাৎ যে গুডও আছে নোটিও ওইটা যাবে এক্সাম টেস্ট করবার লাগে আল্লাহ সুবহানাহু ওয়া তাআলা আমরা হায়াতে জিন্দেগি দিছি। এই জন্য এই হায়াতে জিন্দেগিতে আল্লাহ সুবহানাহু ওয়া তাআলা ইবাদত বন্দেগির মধ্যে আমরা লাগাইতাম। এবং আল্লাহ সুবহানাহু ওয়া তাআলা অন্য সূরার মধ্যে ফরমান ওয়াল আসরি ইন্নাল ইনসানা লাফি খুসর। কোন এই সূরা সাহাবায়ে কেরাম যখন এখানে দলইতা সাহাবায়ে কেরাম যখন একজন আরেকজনের সাথে সাক্ষাৎ হইত, কোন একজনে আরেকজনকে যতক্ষণ পর্যন্ত সূরা ওয়াল আস শুনাইছেন না ততক্ষণ পর্যন্ত তারা একজন আরেকজনকে তারা পড়তা না। সুবহানাল্লাহ। এই ওয়াল আসর মধ্যে আল্লাহ কি কইরা আল্লাহ সময়ের কসম হইয়া কইরা যে সময় নিয়ে আমরা বিজি ব্যস্ত, আমার কাম নাই, আমার টেস্ট কি, আমার টেকুয়ে, আমার কথা ও আমার হো হুদা কথা আছে নাকি নমাজ আমরা পড়ো, নমাজ আমরা বাদ দিলাই মনে করি আমরা কাম বড় আর আমরা কাম বড় আর নমাজ ছিল। নাউজুবিল্লাহ। আল্লাহ বলে ফরমায় যে এই দুনিয়ার মানুষ যে সময় নিয়ে তুমি ব্যস্ত আছো আমি সেই সময়ের কসম হইয়া কইলাম সারা দুনিয়ার মানুষ ক্ষতিগ্রস্ত। সুবহানাল্লাহ। কিন্তু এরা ক্ষতিগ্রস্ত নয় ইল্লাল্লাযীনা আমানু, যারা ঈমানদার এরা ক্ষতিগ্রস্ত নয়। ওয়া আমিলুস সালিহাতি, যারা নেককার যারা নেক আমল করে এরা ক্ষতিগ্রস্ত নয়। ওয়া তাওয়াসাউ বিল হক, 3 নম্বর আল্লাহ ফরমান যারা মানুষের ভালো কাজের আদেশ দেয় আর মন্দ কাজ থেকে মানুষকে ফিরায় এরা ক্ষতিগ্রস্ত থেকে বাঁচি গেছে। ওয়া তাওয়াসাউ বিল হক ওয়া তাওয়াসাউ বিস সাবর, কোন মুসিবতের মধ্যে যারা সবর করে। এই জন্য দাওয়াত ও তাবলীগের কাজ এই আয়াতের মধ্যে আল্লাহ সুবহানাহু ওয়া তাআলা দাওয়াত বড় গুরুত্বপূর্ণ কথা আল্লাহ আমাদের হুকুম দিয়েছেন। তুমি ভালো কাজের আদেশ তো মন্দ কাজ থেকে নিষেধ করো, মানুষের ভালো এই দিকে দেখো আর মানুষের বুড়াই থেকে মানুষের বাঁচাও। আল্লাহ সুবহানাহু ওয়া তাআলা ফরমান এই চার কাজ যারা করে নিবা এরা সমস্ত ক্ষতি থেকে বাঁচিয়ে দিবা, আর যারা এই চারটি কাজ করতে পারতা না এরা ক্ষতিগ্রস্ত। আমরা সবাই চাই না আমরা আল্লাহর কাছে বলছেন তুমি ক্ষতি থেকে বাঁচো, আমরা তো প্রত্যেকে চাই ক্ষতি থেকে বাঁচতে, চাই না চাই না। এই যে আমরা প্রত্যেকে ঈমান তো আমরা হয়তো ঈমানদার, 1 নম্বর তো আছে, 2 নম্বর হলো কি ওয়া আমিলুস সালিহাতি, নেক আমল করতাম। আযান যখন হয়ে যায় নামাজের টাইম হয়ে যায় গরিবের চাই যত বড় খাম হয় না হানে টেস্কে আইছে ওখানে আপনার 200 পাউন্ডের এটা ঠিক আইছে এখন মারা লাগে এখানে পরে খবরদার নামাজ একটু জলদি ওটা দাও। আর আপনি হইতাম না তুই শয়তান আমারে তুই আমারে দাঁত ফেলাইছিস, তোর কথা আমি শুনতাম না। আল্লাহ ডাকা আল্লাহু আকবার আল্লাহু আকবার হাইয়া আলাস সালাহ হাইয়া আলাস সালাহ, আর নামাজের দিকে দিও। আর আমি এটা টেস্কের দিকে দিই, হাইয়া আলাস টেস্কি দিই না, হাইয়া আলাল ফালাহ কামিয়ামের দিকে দিও। আমরা নামাজের দিকে দিতাম। কারণ এই যত বড় কাজ দেখা না এগুলা ফালাইয়া টাইম বেসিক্যালি আমি নামাজ পড়তাম। যদি এরকম আইয়ে ওয়া আমিলুস সালিহাত আর মানুষের ভালো কাজের আদেশ নেই আর মন্দ কাজ থেকে ফিরায় মানুষের নামাজের দাওয়াত দিতাম। যেটা আমরা টেস্কিয়া লাগাই আছি এসে উপরে নামাজের দাওয়াত দিতাম, তাবলীগের দাওয়াত দিতাম, ভালো কাজের আদেশ দিতাম, মন্দ কাজ থেকে আমরা চেষ্টা করতাম ফিরাইতাম। যদি এগুলা করিলাই যে ক্ষতিগ্রস্ত থেকে বাঁচি দিব। আর পয়েন্ট অথবা সব ওই যে আমরা 200 পাউন্ড একটা অর্ডার আছে কনভার্সন না ও মুখ থেকে গেলে 100 হবে না ইলা প্রশ্ন 50 না ইলা আল্লাহ তুমি সবর করো, ও বান্দা তুমি সবর করো। যদি ওবাই তোমার ক্ষতি হয়ে যায় কিন্তু নামাজের কারণে বা পুরা ক্ষতি হয়ে যায় দেখায় তুমি, কিন্তু আল্লাহ অন্যবার তোমারে বাড়াই দিব। সুবহানাল্লাহ। আল্লাহ আপনার নিজের মধ্যে বরকত আল্লাহ দিবা, অন্যবার এমন বরকত দিবা আপনি কইতে হতো না কেন হইতে না। আল্লাহ আমরা কইতে হতো বিধান করেন। আমরা 5 ওয়াক্ত নামাজ মসজিদের মধ্যে দেওয়ার চেষ্টা করতাম এবং সব ধরনের মন্দ কাজ থেকে বাঁচার চেষ্টা করতাম এবং নামাজের টাইম হওয়ার সাথে সাথে আল্লাহর হুকুম আমরা নামাজ আদায় করতাম। আল্লাহ সুবহানাহু ওয়া তাআলা আমরা করতে তৌফিক দান করুন। ওয়া আখিরু দাওয়ানা আলহামদুলিল্লাহি রাব্বিল আলামিন। اللهم صل على سيدنا مولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم. بلغ العلا بكماله كشف الدجى بجماله حسنت جميع خصاله صلوا عليه وآله. تدعى مختصر الحمد لله الذي هدانا من هداه وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله لقد جاءت رسل ربنا بالحق. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وقنا عذاب القبر وقنا عذاب الحشر وقنا عذاب سكرات الموت. فليأتي أشنيا أشيا شيء نيلا شهيا زنو كريانا زهي قنا قنا مدريا مدد خنجسي مقرده مبودا يا الله يا رحمن الرحيم مدد يا باول الله قنا مدد دبياسي معبود يا الله سنتك يا برد الله এমন কোন নেক আমল করে না যে কোন আপনি আমাদের maaf করে দিবেন। আল্লাহ যেদিকে চাই গুনাহ আর গুনাহ যেদিকে চাই গুনাহ রব্বুল আলামিন আমাদের maaf করো মাফ রহম করো। ইয়া আল্লাহ জানি না কোনদিন আজরাইল সালাতু ওয়াসসালাম পাঠিয়ে দিবে। আল্লাহ সারা দুনিয়ায় সুখ শান্তি সবটা বিচ্ছিন্ন হয়ে যাবে মাবুদ। ইয়া আল্লাহ ইয়া রহমান রাহিম আজরাইল সালাতু ওয়াসসালাম এবার আগে আগে আল্লাহ আখিরাতুর ইয়া আল্লাহ আখিরাতুর লাগি তৈরি হওয়ার তৌফিক দান করুন রব্বুল আলামিন। ইয়া আল্লাহ আজকে জলসাকে কবুল ফরমাও মঞ্জুর ফরমাও। আল্লাহ খান কিয়ামতুল ময়দান আল্লাহ এই জলসার আল্লাহ নাজাতুল ওসিলা হিসাবে কবুল ফরমাও মঞ্জুর ফরমাও রব্বুল আলামিন। সারা দুনিয়ার মুসলমানকে maaf ফরমাও আল্লাহ। ফিলিস্তিনের মুসলমান ইয়া আল্লাহ ইন্ডিয়ার মুসলমান সহ সারা দুনিয়ার মজলুম মুসলমানকে গায়ব বুজুদ দান ফরমাও। আল্লাহুম্মা আনসুরিল ইসলাম ওয়াল মুসলিমিন আল্লাহুম্মা আনসুরিল ইসলাম ওয়াল মুসলিমিন اللهم انصر الاسلام والمسلمين. يا الله يا ارحم الراحمين يا الله আমরা রাত পেলাম আল্লাহ আমরা প্রত্যেকের হাজাত পুরা ফরমাও। আল্লাহ বেমারি ও বেমারি দারু শিফা দিয়ে শিফা আতা ফরমাও। মুসিবত জাদা হলে মুসিবত থেকে উদ্ধার ফরমাও। আল্লাহ নেককার মা বোন যখন যারা ওয়াজ করতে শুনতে আসেন ইয়া আল্লাহ প্রত্যেকে আল্লাহ নিয়ামত দান ফরমাও। আল্লাহ প্রত্যেকের হাজাত পুরা ফরমাও। ইয়া আল্লাহ ইয়া রহমান রাহিম আমরা পক্ষ থেকে আকায়ে মুন্দার ফজল মদিনা বিশ্ব নবী মুহাম্মদুর রাসূলুল্লাহ সাল্লাল্লাহু আলাইহি ওয়াসাল্লাম রোজায় বসে আল্লাহ আমরা পক্ষ থেকে লক্ষ লক্ষ কোটি কোটি সালাত ও সালাম পৌঁছে দাও। ইয়া আল্লাহ আখির দরখাস্ত ইয়া আল্লাহ আজকের এই মজমারে আজকের জলসাকে কবুল ফরমাও মঞ্জুর ফরমাও। ربنا تقبل منا انك انت السميع العليم وتب علينا انك انت التواب الرحيم. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الدين عند الله الإسلام وقالوا من يبتغي غير الإسلام دينا فلن يقبل منه وهو في الآخرة من الخاسرين. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. Dear brothers, respected elders, honorable ulama, beloved sisters, we begin in the name of Allah, thank Him, praise Him, glorify Him, seek His forgiveness and ask Him to send His infinite mercy upon His beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to guide us and keep us on the right path so that we can live like Muslims, die like Muslims and rise like Muslims on the day of Qiyamah. My dear brothers, it's how people live is how they will die. And how they die is how they will rise on the day of Qiyamah. Those who live a life that Allah wants them to live, fulfilling the requisites of Islam and Iman, then they can hope to die with Iman. And if they die with Iman, they will rise with Iman and be dealt with accordingly. Those who don't live a good life, the life that Allah wants them to live. Many people think having a good life means wearing nice clothes, eating nice food, driving a nice car, living in a nice house, having a nice job, for a man to have a nice wife in order to have a nice life, and for a woman to have a nice husband. Yes, these things are nice, but that's not what Allah classifies as really nice life. Nice life in the eyes of Allah, man amila salihan min dhakarin aw untha wa huwa mu'minun falanuhyiyannahu hayatan tayyiba. In the eyes of Allah, nice life is one which is lived with Iman and good deeds. And then when a person lives his life with Iman and good deeds, then Allah takes care of all aspects of his life. Allah provides for his needs from where he can't even imagine. Allah provides ease and comfort. وَمَنْ يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا. Allah will create a solution and an opening in all his difficulties. وَمَنْ يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مِنْ أَمْرِهِ يُسْرًا. In fact, Allah won't let any hardship come his way. Allah will make everything easy. There will be some hardships along the way, but they will be to distinguish from the truthful from the mere claimants, and to separate the men from the boys, as people say. And then Allah will make everything easy. Allah will lead them to success. Inna lil muttaqina mafaza. You will be a winner all the way. Allah will give them hidayat. Allah will give them goodness of this world. And more importantly, Inna lil muttaqina inda rabbihim jannatin na'im. Paradise in the life hereafter. All goodness awaits such people who live a life of Iman and good deeds. My dear brothers, the greatest challenge which faces Muslims now is to remain steadfast upon Deen, so that when they leave this world, they do so with Iman and in a state of Islam. This is a dua that we pray whenever there is a janazah. Allahumma man ahyaytahu minna fa ahyihi ala al-Islam. Yes, Ya Allah, whomsoever you keep alive, keep him alive upon Islam. وَمَنْ تَوَفَّيْتَهُ مِنَّا فَتَوَفَّهُ عَلَى الْإِيمَانِ. And when you take anyone away, Ya Allah, take them away with Iman. So to live like a Muslim and die like a Muslim is not easy. It's easy to talk about, but the practicality is something else. And this is what Allah has demanded. Allah commands and demands in Quran. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullaha haqqa tuqatih wa la tamutunna illa wa antum muslimun. O believers, fear Allah as Allah ought to be feared. Allah deserves to be feared. Allah deserves to be loved, and Allah deserves to be loved the most. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَشَدُّ حُبًّا لِلَّهِ. Those who are believers, they love Allah profusely. When you love someone, Allahu Akbar, and then you never want to get them angry. You're happy to do what your beloved, what pleases your beloved. So to love Allah. And why shouldn't we love Allah? When Allah is the best. Allah is the greatest. Allah is the one who's given you everything. Eyes to see, ears to listen, tongue to talk, hands to work, legs to walk, mind to think, parents, children, family, friends. Whatever you have and whatever we all have is from Allah. So why shouldn't we love Allah? We should love Allah, and we should love Allah the most. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَشَدُّ حُبًّا لِلَّهِ. Allah deserves to be loved. In fact, He is the real one who deserves to be loved. The most, and along with Him, to love Allah, to love Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, to love Allah and to fear Allah. This is Allahu Akbar. This is This is what Iman is. Iman is strange. Al-Imanu bayna al-khawfi wal-raja. With Iman comes fear and hope and love. Allahu Akbar. So fear Allah as Allah ought to be feared. Be always aware and conscious. Other people might never know what you said and what you did. When you were alive, when you were alone in your home, all doors locked, nobody could know, possibly. Nobody could see. Nobody might ever know. But Allah knows. Allah is watching. And there is nothing you can hide from Allah. You can't hide what you do from Allah. You can't even hide your thoughts from Allah. You know, sometimes people are sitting and they're behaving, but their thoughts, they might be giving out some vicious vibes. He's smiling at you, but deep down you don't know. He's giving you a nice smile, but deep down in his heart he might be hating your guts. Allah says in the Quran, some people are like that. That they present with their heart, with their tongues, what is not in their hearts. All nice and smart. You know, many times our brothers sometimes go in gasht. You have local gasht here, to leave Jamaat gasht, mashallah. Sometimes brothers knock on the door and the man says to his little son, son, go and tell him I'm not home. So the son says, my dad says he's not home. So people all do all sorts. But you can't even hide your thoughts from Allah. Wallahu ya'lamu ma tubduna wa ma tukhfun. What you hide in your hearts. Ya'lamu kha'inat al-a'yuni wa ma tukhfi as-sudur. Man he's giving you some nice looks, but what's really behind those looks, people might never know, but Allah knows. Allah knows. Allah knows your thoughts. Allah knows your intentions. Allah knows all there is to know. وَهُوَ عَلِيمٌ بِذَاتِ الصُّدُورِ. He knows what's in here. When a man goes in the grave and on the day of Qiyamah, and one of the first things to be done, الْيَوْمَ نَخْتِمُ عَلَىٰ أَفْوَاهِهِمْ. Allah will seal the mouths. So you can't sweet talk. Some people are very good at sweet talking. But on the day of Qiyamah, there will be no sweet talkers. So Allah won't even let you answer with your tongue. الْيَوْمَ نَخْتِمُ عَلَىٰ أَفْوَاهِهِمْ وَتُكَلِّمُنَا أَيْدِيهِمْ وَتَشْهَدُ أَرْجُلُهُمْ بِمَا كَانُوا يَكْسِبُونَ. And then Allah will question your ears, your eyes. وَقَالُوا لِجُلُودِهِمْ لِمَا شَهِدْتُمْ عَلَيْنَا. And a man will look around and will say, when given the, why did you testify against me? I did this because of you. And they will say, in dunya we were under your command. You could look with eyes, whatever you want, listen with your ears, whatever you want, do with your hands, whatever you want, go with your legs, wherever you want. Your legs won't say, no, not now. Your eyes won't blink against your wish. But on the day of Qiyamah, these very eyes, these very ears, these very hands, these very legs, they will say, in dunya Allah put us in your service, but today we are under direct orders. We are under direct line. So it's not what you say, it's what Allah says that we will say. Allahu Akbar. So don't be fooled. Allah says in the Quran many places, let shaitan not deceive you. Let the worldly life not deceive you. This is his tricks. This is his game. To fool people, to deceive people, to trick people. رَبِّ لِمَا غْوَيْتَنِي لَأُزَيِّنَنَّ لَهُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَلَأُغْوِيَنَّهُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ. He's sworn in front of Allah to do he's gonna go all guns blazing. You know all guns blazing? And shaitan comes all guns blazing. He's nobody's friend. So Allah says, he's not your friend, so don't take him as a friend. He's your enemy. He's your number one enemy. Muslims in India might think Hindus are their enemies. Muslims in Palestine might think Jews are their enemies. Other people might think others are their enemies. They might be your enemies, they might not be your enemies. They might be your temporary enemies. Many people become Muslims and they regret what they've done. They become your best friend. But shaitan has never been anybody's friend. He will never be anybody's friend. He's all guns blazing. He's vowed in front of Allah to take everyone to Jahannam, to try at least. Ya Allah, I'm going to take them all. Illa ibadaka minhumul mukhlasin. And then He exempted those Allah saves. You think you can get away from shaitan? You can't. The only way if Allah saves. If illa ibadaka minhumul mukhlasin, not mukhlisin. Mukhlis is someone who's trying to be good. Mukhlis isn't someone trying to be good. Mukhlis is someone Allah has made good. If Allah saves you, that's the only way. So Allah commands us to seek refuge in Allah. Come to Allah's protection. Come to Allah's security. قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ أَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ أَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ أَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ أَعُوذُ بِكَلِمَاتِ اللَّهِ التَّامَّةِ. In Rasulullah's dua so much. Seek Allah's refuge. Come to Allah. Don't run away from Allah. You know this. When someone is scared of someone, if there, Allah forbid, there was a lion here, everybody will run for the door. Or a fire, you run away. When you fear someone, you run away. You try to run, keep your distance. But fear of Allah is such. Don't run from Allah. If you run from Allah, where are you going to run? Is there any place you can run to? So don't even try running away from Allah. فَفِرُّوا إِلَى اللَّهِ. Run towards Allah. Don't run away from Allah. You think you can get away from Allah? Be Allah se bhag kar kahan jaoge? Ya ma'ashar al-jinni wal-insi in istata'tum an tanfudhu min aqtari as-samawati wal-ardi fanfudhu. You think you can run? Allah says, let me see you run. Run. How far will you run? Where can you run? Can you escape the limits of the universe? So don't even try it. Run towards Allah. فَفِرُّوا إِلَى اللَّهِ. You know, like a mother? When a mother is hitting the child or telling a child off, but by a child I mean 2-3-year-old one. They're pure, they're innocent. When they become 5, 6, 7, they become crafty. Then they start running. And I remember many years ago, one of my boys, he was young, and he had a bit of a good relationship with me. Alhamdulillah, he's okay still. And then his mother said, I'm going to sort you out. He said, if you sort me out, I'm going to run to Abu. When you become 5, 6, then the child runs. But 2-3-year-old, when the mother is slapping it or telling it off, you know what he does? It clings more to the mother. She's telling him off, but the child clings more to the mother because he knows that's all there is. Where can he go without his mother? So Allah says, don't run from me, run towards me. فَفِرُّوا إِلَى اللَّهِ. Don't try and run from Allah, run towards Allah. In du'as of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Allahumma inni a'udhu biridaka min sakhatik. Ya Allah, I seek refuge in your pleasure from your anger. If Allah becomes angry, where are you going to go? So don't even try and run and come back to Allah. Ya Allah, I seek refuge in your pleasure from your anger. Allahumma inni a'udhu biridak. Allahumma inni a'udhu bika minka. Ya Allah, I seek refuge with you from you. I seek refuge with you from you. Allahu Akbar. So come towards Allah. So I was saying, Allah says in the Quran, ittaqullaha haqqa tuqatih. Fear Allah as Allah ought to be feared. Because you don't want to make Allah angry. It's not that Allah doesn't get angry. Allah gets angry. And when Allah gets angry, Allahu Akbar. When Allah is angry, even the heavens and the earth and the mountains shake. Because Allah is angry. But it's another thing that Allah has written upon Himself, Inna rahmati sabaqat ala ghadabi. My rahmat will always be dominant over my anger. When people become angry, they do things all of a sudden, spur of the moment. If there's an argument between the husband and wife, what happens many times? Because the wife made the husband angry. So what does husband say? Talaq, talaq, talaq. And then he said, Mawli Sahib, I didn't mean it. I was angry. I said, I've yet to see somebody who's sitting with his wife and saying, darling, you're so beautiful, I love you, I'm going to give you talaq. It doesn't happen that way. 90% of the time there'll be an argument. She'll say something, he'll say something, she'll say something else, and then he'll fire the shots. I didn't mean it. Well, too bad. Talaq is something, even if you say it, if you don't mean it, it still takes effect. So if you're going to get married, to all the youngsters here, if you're going to get married, before the nikah day, learn the masail of talaq. Because I don't know how many of you remember when you started to learn to drive. Young people are interested in using the right foot. Boom. But the instructor, he wants you to make sure you know what the left foot is. The right foot, you use it properly in the middle one. That middle pedal, the brake one is the crucial one. Whenever there's applications to extend a building and they want to know if there's emergency exits, health and safety issues, that's very important. You've got to keep them clear. So make sure you know how to use the brake properly. If you're going to get married, make sure you know what exits you from the marriage. Otherwise you think you are married, but you are not. You're committing zina all your life. Then many times people are too embarrassed and ashamed because they said it. Nobody else knows because it was personal, husband and wife. No, there wasn't a third party around. So they brush it under the carpet. You can brush it under the carpet, but Allah knows. So when a man is angry, he does whatever. Can you imagine if Allah became angry and his anger got the better of him? Allah will destroy everything. Blow the trumpet now. Enough is enough. Let the mountains come over. As when Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam went to Taif and the people chased Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam out of town, Jibreel came down, Ya Rasulullah, Allah sent this angel. He's in charge of the mountains. Under your command, whatever you say. And he suggested, if you want, he will pick up the mountains and put them on top of these people to crush them. But Rasulullah was rahmatul lil alameen. Rasulullah said, I'm hopeful, if not these people, then in their generations, there will be people who will believe in Allah. Because Rasulullah was rahmatul lil alameen, Rasulullah had that control. But many times people don't. And if Allah allowed his anger to get the better of him, there will be nothing left. Allah says in the Quran in a number of places, وَلَوْ يُؤَاخِذُ اللَّهُ النَّاسَ بِمَا كَسَبُوا مَا تَرَكَ عَلَى ظَهْرِهَا مِنْ دَابَّةٍ. If Allah was to punish people every time they did something wrong, there will be nothing left in this world. Every time you did something wrong, you look at something wrong, your eyes were taken away. You listened to something you shouldn't have listened, you became deaf. You said something you shouldn't have said, okay, you become dumb. You go somewhere where you shouldn't go, Allah is going to break your legs. What will happen? The world will be full of blind and deaf and dumb and lame people. وَيَعْفُوا عَنْ كَثِيرٍ. Allah lets it go. Because Allah knows what are you going to do. Eventually you're going to come back to Allah. You're going to come back to Allah, then Allah will have the last say. Inna Allah yafsilu bainakum yawm al-qiyamah. Allah will decide. The final decision is with. Today, you might think it's my life. It's my life. You don't tell me what to do, man. It's your life. You can't do what you like. This is the way it's always been, and this is the way it will always will be. When you were growing up, if you remember when you were 3, 4, 5, which you don't remember as most won't, and you've got children who are 3, 4, 5-year-olds, can they do what they like? Can children do what they like in their parents' home when they're growing up? Just sit down, do what you are told. Then you start going to school. Can you do what you like? Even in a private school. Your father's paying £20,000, £25,000 fees. Can you do what you like? Turn out what you like, wear what you like, go home when you like, just attend whatever lesson you want. No, do exactly as you are told. And then, mashallah, man's grown up, he become educated, highly qualified, and now he's got a job. Can he do what he likes? Can the Prime Minister do what he likes? Even he's got guidelines. He tries saying whatever he likes. But then he apologizes. He said, Muslim women are like letterboxes. But then he said he was sorry. And you know Boris Johnson? Heard his name? His great-grandfather was a Muslim. Kamal. And then his grandfather was born Usman. Boris Johnson's grandfather, when he was born Usman. Then he came to London and he changed his name to Wilfred Johnson. And then he married a European woman. And then he had a son named him Stanley. And then Stanley had a son named him Boris. So Boris said, I'm proud of my Muslim heritage. In other words, he's proud of the fact he's left Islam. Allahu Akbar. This is what happens if people aren't careful. You think, mashallah, now everything is rosy, cozy, Muslim, but what's going to happen down the line? A couple of generations later. This is why Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Hadith in Abu Dawud, أَنَا بَرِيءٌ مِّن كُلِّ مُسْلِمٍ يُقِيمُ بَيْنَ ظَهْرَانَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. Rasulullah said, I've got nothing to do with any Muslim who lives under non-Muslims. Yes, alhamdulillah, we've got masjids, we've got madrasas, we've got so much going. But Allahu Akbar, many ulama try to make this hadith acceptable and ta'weed, this means this and this means that. But the bottom line is, Rasulullah said, I've got nothing to do with any Muslim who lives amidst mushriks. In a way, bayna dhahran al-mushrikin, they have the dominant hand. Where you're living as a minority, weakness, yes, okay, we've got it easy going now. But when times flip and change, and it doesn't take long to flip and change, Allahu Akbar, Allah knows best. So my dear brothers, I was saying, Allah says, fear Allah as Allah ought to be feared, and let it not be that you die, but as Muslims, وَلَا تَمُوتُنَّ إِلَّا وَأَنْتُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ. You might be young now, looking forward. I'm only 10, 12, 15, 20. I've just got married. I just started a new job. Ask any uncle. Ask any grandpa. Grandpa, how was life? You know what he'll say? Son, went like a dream. Before you know, Malakul Maut will be on the door. And he's not going to ask, son, you ready, boy? You want to come with me? And you say, now please spare me, man, give me some more time. Okay, here's my mobile number, just ring me when you're ready. Is he going to say that to anybody? He's never asked. He doesn't knock on the door, let me in. He don't care what your situation is. He don't feel sorry for anyone. You know, when Malakul Maut's been around and pays a visit to someone, you know he's been around. He leaves a trail of weeping and crying. Mother, children, wife, brother, sister. Well, many don't bother anymore. Everyone's in a selfish way now. The world's become strange. In fact, people are chow, good riddance. There was a time when people cared about each other and they did feel sorry for one another and they missed one another. Wallahu alam. But even if you love someone, and you know when Malakul Maut's been around, the whole family is weeping. He leaves a trail of weeping and crying. And once the angels asked him, come on man, you've been trying to separate loved ones from each other, parents from children, brothers from brothers and sisters and uncles and nephews and so on, lovers from beloveds and so on. Have you never felt sorry for anyone? You know, sometimes you do something and you really feel sorry for them. Have you never felt sorry? You've taken away somebody's mother, somebody's wife, somebody's husband, somebody's brother, somebody's son, and look at the effect it's doing upon him. When we were coming here, one brother was saying, something happened to one brother, and he said, young man, he was taken in, but it shattered his father. And his father became so hopeless. Allahu Akbar. One after the other, heart attack and other, within a few months, he was gone. Because he felt so, missed his son. So, you've been taken away, father from sons and brothers from brothers, wives from husbands, husbands from wives, friends from one another. Don't you feel sorry for people? Because me feel sorry. If I feel sorry, I can't do my job. Can you imagine if Malakul Maut felt sorry for someone, can he do his job? Huh? He can't do his job. Allah's made him such. He don't care how much you're going to cry, what's going to happen. When he comes, you can put all the bolts, all the chub locks, all the security locks and cameras and whatever. You can keep thieves out, but there hasn't been a door which can keep Malakul Maut out. He doesn't ask anyone. And once he came, I'm just putting it mildly, this is not the exact translation of but once he visited Musa alayhi salam, and Musa alayhi salam, as though, is this a social visit or are you on business on call? I'm on duty. So Musa, you come to take me? Gee, Musa alayhi salam gave him one good one, or he popped out. Musa alayhi salam was Musa alayhi salam. He went out and he saw that an Egyptian bullying an Israeli. Musa alayhi salam just gave him one. All it took for Musa alayhi salam was one punch. What's it, Anthony Joshua and others, it takes many rounds. But Musa alayhi salam, one punch is all it took. All it took to knock out him for good. And Musa alayhi salam, one punch, even Malakul Maut couldn't handle him. Ya Allah, look what Musa did to me. No problem, I'll sort it out. Go and ask Musa if he wants to stay, alayhi salam. Now you see the ox, put your hand there and as many hairs that come under your hand will increase so many hairs. And then he said, this is what Allah says. And then I'll be back. I won't bother you, I'll come with you now. No one's ever been able to say no to him. Allahu Akbar. They say, well, I didn't feel sorry for two people. All these years, Adam alayhi salam's time, till all that time, all the humans, all the jinns, Allahu Akbar. Many a great people, he said, I felt sorry for two people. One was a woman traveling in the jungle and she gave birth, and I was commanded to take the soul, not the child, but the mother. And I felt sorry, this child just being born, how's he going to survive in the jungle? Animals and wild things and so on. But Allah's command, Allah's wisdom. Angels can't say no to what Allah commands. So time went by, and then he said, then there was another guy. He built a wonderful palace. His name was Shaddad. And he said to ulama, what you talk about the paradise, you talk about in the life hereafter, I'll show you paradise in dunya. So some say 100,000 workers worked for 300 years to build them a Jannat in dunya. Gold and silver, streams flowing underneath, mashallah, exactly as Jannat has been described. And then when it was all ready and he was going for the inspection, for the grand opening, Allah said to Malakul Maut on a mission, I want his soul in such a way, 1 foot inside, 1 foot outside. 1 foot down, 1 foot mid-air. And Malakul Maut said, he spent so much money, so much effort, and he can't even see it. He can't even see it. So they went back, Ya Allah, the angel said, we have to ask Allah this one. Ya Allah, what's the secret? You know that boy you felt sorry for? You thought, how will he survive? He's the same guy. I looked after him. I brought him up. I provided for him. I gave him so much, he became so arrogant and rebellious. And usually when people are hardworking, simple, not much knowing, somebody unemployed, Ya Allah, please, you see him in front stuff usually. When Tablighi Jamaat comes around, who's ready? Brother, make dua, Allah, give me a job. Then inshallah, it's very soon, 4 months, inshallah. Someone, other problems, you see him in the front, so weeping, crying, you wonder, mashallah, what a wali Allah. And Allah has mentioned this in the Quran. وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ عَهَدَ اللَّهَ لَيْنَ أَتَانَا مِنْ فَضْلِهِ لَنَصَّدَّقَنَّ وَلَنَكُونَنَّ مِنَ الصَّالِحِينَ. Many people make du'as, Ya Allah, if you sort this one out, Ya Allah, I'll give everything in your name, and I'll become pious, I'll change, I'll become good. فَلَمَّا آتَاهُمْ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ بَخِلُوا بِهِ وَتَوَلَّوْا وَهُمْ مُعْرِضُونَ. And then Allah listens to his dua, and Allah accepts it, and then Allah provides ease. And the man who used to be in the front of even the Hajj time, weeping, crying, and asking everyone, make dua, brothers, inshallah. I'm ready for the rest of my life with you guys. But as soon as Allah then takes a problem away, Allah gives a little bit of ease and comfort, slowly, mashallah, the Jamaat Takbir-e-Ula vanishes, then Jamaat vanishes, then Salat vanishes. And فَأَعْقَبَهُمْ نِفَاقًا فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ إِلَى يَوْمِ يَلْقَوْنَهُ بِمَا أَخْلَقُ اللَّهَ مَا وَعَدُوا. Because then they don't keep their promise. They said they'll do this, but Allah knew that He won't. So Allah was holding back. But He kept insisting and making dua, and everybody making dua. So Allah accepted somebody's dua. And now this guy did a U-turn. Slowly the beard vanishes, the kurta vanishes, and sometimes even Iman vanishes. Because a man tried to cheat Allah. Allahu Akbar. Inna al-insana la yatagha ar-ra'ahu istaghna. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Oh people, I'm not afraid if you live hand to mouth. فَوَاللَّهِ وَالْفَقْرُ أَخْشَى عَلَيْكُمْ. I'm not afraid if you remain poor, what will happen to you, how you will survive. وَلَكِنِّي أَخْشَى أَن تُبْسَطَ عَلَيْكُمُ الدُّنْيا. I'm afraid if Allah gives you more, you got plenty coming your way. كَمَا بُسِّطَتْ عَلَى مَنْ كَانَ قَبْلَكُمْ فَتَنَافَسُوهَا كَمَا تَنَافَسُوهَا فَتُهْلِكَكُمْ كَمَا أَهْلَكَتْهُمْ. I'm afraid that if Allah gives you ease, prosperity, comfort, dunya starts coming your way, then you will start running after it, like the people before you ran after it, and then it will ruin you and destroy you like it did those before you. Because when a man is just simple, then his conscience is clear, his mind is clear, he's thankful, grateful, hard-working, weeping, crying. A man wasn't got much doing. If he's not going to come to Masjid, what's he going to do? But mashallah, soon he becomes qualified, and then mashallah, he moves out of town, these terrace houses. It's difficult, you can't even get parking here. So now mashallah, he's qualified, he's got a nice job, his business is doing well. Now he's gone exclusive area. And then he opens another shop, and now he's running around. And then soon what happened? Then you start seeing him in Jummah, then you start seeing him on only Eid. And Allahu Akbar. Then he's living with the crowd, isn't he? He's living on that level and standard. So Rasulullah said, that's what I'm afraid of. If this happens, then you'll run after dunya. Allahu Akbar. In such a way, you'll forget about Allah. وَقَلِيلٌ مِّنْ عِبَادِيَ الشَّكُورِ. You won't be thankful and grateful. Then you'll think, I've done this. I worked very hard for this, you know. You don't know how hard I worked. And this is what Qarun said as well. Qarun, Allah gave him so much wealth. There are types of people, mashallah. Some can handle it, some can't. And there was another very wealthy man, not very long ago. And you know who is, they say, is the supposedly wealthiest man in history? It's not Bill Gates. He's very rich. Bill Gates, yes, but he's not the wealthiest. And the other guy I want to refer to, Musa Mensa. Bill Gates, I don't know, worth 100 million plus, pleasantly. One of the richest men, 100 billion, not million, billion. 100 billion plus. Musa Mensa was worth at least $500 billion. He was ruler of Mali, West African country at the time, a couple of 100 years ago. But mashallah, Allah gave him wealth and Allah gave him a heart. When he went for Hajj, camels and camels of gold. And throughout the journey, mashallah, he distributed wealth and he built masajid. Allahu Akbar, helping poor people throughout his journey. He was worth at least equivalent, when adjusted to inflation, at least 500 billion. That's how much he was worth. But mashallah, a very pious man, a very good man, a caring man, helpful man. And there was another Qarun, Allah gave him a lot of wealth. And Allah gave him so much wealth that the treasures used to be carried, the keys used to be carried by strong men. And when the time came to give zakat, people said to him, okay, Allah has given you, no problem. وَلَا تَنْسَ نَصِيبَكَ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا. It's alright, you know, mashallah, use from what Allah has given you. If Allah has given somebody wealth and prosperity, Allah wants to see that reflected in his lifestyle. No problem, have a nice, eat nice, live nice, but be thankful within limits. Kulu washrabu wala tusrifu. Eat, drink, don't be extravagant. And nowadays people, modern life has become immoral and extravagant. Two fundamental ingredients of an Islamic life: simplicity and hard working. Simplicity in your food, in your clothing, in your lifestyle, in your homes, in your weddings. Allahu Akbar. Weddings have become pure adab. 30, 40, 50,000 pound wedding. 20 years ago, but almost 30 years ago, people used to, how the weddings used to be. They used to hire the local school hall and get someone to cook the food, and all the friends and cousins, they used to help out. Remember those days? Weddings were simple, no problem, mashallah, and there used to be only one or two dishes. Either salan roti, salan naan, or biryani or something, or kulashora with a zarda. That was the menu, standard menu for weddings. And everybody, and it was mashallah, everybody would take part. Slowly became town halls. Then mashallah, the 5-star hotels. I got invited to do a wedding somewhere on Racecourse. Racecourse. There was another guy who got married in the summer, and he hired out a whole marquee. And I asked him how much it cost. He cost me arm and a leg. It goes for 3 days, just for the marquee I spent 20,000 pounds. Decorations, menu, everything else on top. All my life savings are gone. Who told you to do it this way? And now, subhanallah, 30, 40, 50,000 pounds on a wedding. Mulsa, make dua la give barakah. All the Maulvis can make dua. How can they give barakah in that? There's no barakah in israf, in extravagance. Allahu Akbar. Another, subhanallah, wastage of money. I personally can't hack it. When I see somebody, I'm not jealous, but I just think it's a total waste of money. When I see somebody, a Muslim, driving a brand new car, because 1 year is almost half price. He's bought out a brand new car, Merc, whatever, subhanallah. He paid 50,000 pounds. As soon as he comes out of the showroom, he's lost 10,000 pounds in value. Am I right or wrong? After another year, it will lose. He's only done 5,000 miles. It's almost brand new, but it's worth 20,000 less. Allahu Akbar. So much money. In fact, ulama are saying now, anybody who's done his Farz Hajj, if you've done your Farz Hajj, and now you want to go for a second Hajj, some ulama are saying, don't go and do your second Hajj. It's going to cost you 5,000-6,000 pounds. With those 5,000-6,000 pounds, you can save hundreds of lives. Muslims who are dying, starving in Palestine and other places, people are asking fatwa, Maulvi Sahib, can we eat cats and mice? Because there's nothing else to eat. So some ulama are saying, don't do your nafal umrah. You've done umrah, you've been 3-4 years, mashallah, no problem, make sabr. Give that money to those who are starving and dying. So when ulama are saying, don't do your nafal hajj and nafal umrahs and save lives of people, what justification can there be for spending 40,000 pounds, 20,000 pounds, 30,000 pounds on a wedding or a brand new car? When 1 year old, 2 year old, okay, Allah's given, you want to drive a cushy car, okay, mashallah, do your sons, compromise. Allahu Akbar. We're living in strange times. So ulama say, previously people used to live simple lives. They were hard-working people. Now, immorality, fahashi, uriani, and extravagance. People don't need anything. Extravagance has become the spice of life. You don't need some. One of my friends used to say, nowadays people buy things they don't need with the money they don't have to impress the people they don't like. Oh, let him burn, man, burn. Let him burn. Because he says, I want to burn it. Astaghfirullah. This is haram, this is arrogance. Allah has given you something, mashallah, you want to show appreciation. Mashallah, you're going down, someone is waiting on the bus, give him a lift, man, mashallah. And so on. But I want to make him burn. I want to drive past, let him burn. SubhanAllah. Especially relatives. I want to let him burn. Astaghfirullah. Astaghfirullah. Share with your relatives. Allah has given you something. People say, can you give zakat to your relatives? People ask, can you give zakat to your relatives? Zakat is for those, إنما الصدقات للفقراء والمساكين والعاملين عليها. Allah has listed those who are absolute poor, masakin, got nothing else. Give them zakat. Your relative, your uncle, your auntie, your cousin, you want to give him zakat, shame on you. وَآتَ الْمَالَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ ذَوِي الْقُرْبَى. When it comes to your relatives, give them real, genuine, extra, not your zakat. That zakat is for poor people, miskeens. إنما الصدقات للفقراء والمساكين والعاملين عليها والمؤلفة قلوبهم وفي الرقاب والغارمين وفي سبيل الله وابن السبيل. Relatives don't come in that list. Relatives come under genuine wealth. Share with them, mashallah. And then you see them make dua for you. But when you want to make them burn, is he going to make dua for you? Then you take out a new roll, man, Ya Allah, so something happens. And then Allahu Akbar. And then people say, be nazar lati. Evil eye. What do you expect if people don't give you an evil eye? And another musibah nowadays, Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, real fitna. Many times, subhanAllah, messages come around. Somebody's wife just given birth and he's holding the baby, showing off. Allah, just bless me with the baby. Make dua, Allah, make him pious. He's going to make him pious. He's going to give you an evil eye. Rasulullah said in one hadith, Allahu Akbar, أكثر من يموت في أمتي بعد قضاء الله وقدره بالعين. Majority of the harm which comes to people, even death in the ummah. After what, if Allah has written something for you, that's going to happen. But other than that, or sudden things, because of evil eye. Some people are so crazy. When they're going for Hajj or Umrah, they send a message around all over the world. Brother, I'm going for Umrah, Hajj, please forgive me. The guy doesn't even know you. And the one who knows you, your uncle, your friend, you upset, people don't want to say sorry to him. But saying sorry to those, they don't even know across the other side of the world. Brother, forgive me if I've done anything wrong. The guy doesn't even know you, man. Allahu Akbar. And relatives among especially. SubhanAllah. So I was saying, my dear brothers, Allah expects us to live like Muslims and die like Muslims. One of the things which the ultimate challenge Muslims face now, and it's becoming difficult by the day. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has spoken of times when a time will come when people will be Muslim in the morning, kafir by the evening. Yusbihu mu'minan wa yumsihu kafiran. We are already in those times. We are fast approaching rather, if not already in those times. When people, subhanAllah, many people they say, oh, I was a Muslim. Oh, my parents are Muslim. But I'm not a Muslim anymore. Even if it's sinful Muslim, as long as you're a Muslim, there is still hope. But if a person says, Allah forbid, if a man says this, I'm no longer a Muslim, or he talks along those lines, or even if he says, I'm thinking about leaving Islam, he's already gone out of Islam. And if sisters are listening, Allah forbid, Allah forbid. If a man says that and he's married, his nikah automatically breaks. If a man becomes a murtad, a man can marry a Christian woman, but if a Muslim woman becomes a Christian, then nikah will break automatically. Staying as Muslim is so crucial. Allah, we are the ummah of Rasulullah, but millat of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Ibrahim alayhi salam's stories, his life is mentioned in the Quran in many places. And one of the things Ibrahim alayhi salam said, his dua was, Ya Allah, Rabbi junubni wa baniya na'bud al-asnam. Ya Allah, save me and my children from worshipping idols. And his advice to his children, Ya baniya inna Allah hastafa lakum ad-dina fala tamutunna illa wa antum muslimun. Oh my sons, Allah has chosen Islam for you. Let it not be that you die but as Muslims. Who was Ibrahim's son? Ismail and Ishaq alayhi salam. Such wonderful people. And Ibrahim alayhi salam's grandson, Yaqub, great-grandson, Yusuf alayhi salam and his brothers. وَوَصَّى بِهَا إِبْرَاهِيمُ بَنِيهِ وَيَعْقُوبُ يَا بَنِيَّ إِنَّ اللَّهَ اصْطَفَى لَكُمُ الدِّينَ فَلَا تَمُوتُنَّ إِلَّا وَأَنْتُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ. And then Ibrahim and Yaqub alayhi salam, Allah says, this was their main concern, their nightmare. For sons, Allah has chosen Islam for you. Let it not be that you die but as Muslims. We are now living in such times of fitna and fasad, evil and corruption. This is what goes around, comes around. People, subhanAllah, today was Christmas Day. Many people celebrate Christmas throughout the world. Christmas is supposed to be a Christian festival, huh? And part of the Christmas celebration is there's a Christmas tree. Many Christians have stopped celebrating Christmas. You know, our Tablighi brothers usually do around Saturday evening, Sunday. When is local Gash Day? Wednesday evening, mashallah. Never mind. Wednesday evening, Saturday evening, Sunday evening, many places. There's another party which goes around on a Gash Sunday morning. You know who they are? Jehovah's Witnesses. Huh? The Christian Tablighi Jamaat. The Christian version of Tablighi Jamaat. Jehovah's Witnesses. They don't celebrate Christmas. You know why? Because they know Jesus wasn't born around December time. In the Quran, it doesn't give Isa alayhi salam's date of birth, but it gives a hint. This is the beauty of Quran. Allah said something which includes so many other things. In a simple phrase. That was when Maryam alayhi salam gave birth to Isa alayhi salam, she was lying under a palm tree, date tree. So having given birth to Isa alayhi salam, Allah said, وَهُزِّي إِلَيْكِ بِجِذْءِ النَّخْلَةِ تُسَاقِطْ عَلَيْكِ رُطَبًا جَنِيًّا. Maryam, shake it. Shake this tree, ripe dates will fall upon you. And in Palestine, in December, there's no ripe dates on the trees. It's so cold over there, in December sometimes snows, and dates are warm by the fruit. And so if there were ripe dates on the tree, it has to be not December, but late spring, early summer, possibly May, June. And Allahu Akbar. In that, Tusaqit alayk, Allah is just mentioning something, but this, subhanAllah, as it's passing by, but implicates so much, Allahu Akbar, accuracy and so much. This is the mu'jiza of Quran. Allah mentioned the whole season and everything, negated December, Christmas, all things in just this simple phrase. Christians have stopped celebrating Christmas, but some of the most extravagant Christmas celebrations, you know where? Dubai. MashaAllah. Last year they put real gold on the Christmas trees in Dubai. And then New Year's Eve, fireworks, tens of millions. Muslims are starving and dying. They don't want to pay their workers. When Rasulullah said, pay the workers before their sweat dries. They don't want to pay them, but they want to blast hundreds of millions of dollars of fireworks to impress the world. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. So, I was saying Ibrahim alayhi salam, his sons, Yaqub, Ismail, Ishaq, and then grandsons, Yusuf alayhi salam and the likes. Ibrahim alayhi salam is worried for them. فَلَا تَمُوتُنَّ إِلَّا وَأَنْتُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ. So one of the things which is, people when they see what goes around comes around, is many people leaving Islam. Allahu Akbar. And if anybody decides to part ways, he's got no one to blame but himself. The thing to make sure, if nothing else, as long as you've got Iman, and a person leaves this world with Iman, even though he may be sinful, there is hope. But when a person steps out, Allah forbid, even if a person goes out of the door temporarily, temporarily, whatever that person has done previously in his life, everything is wiped out. Prayers wasted, hajj wasted, fasting wasted. Even if Allah gives him tawfiq to repent again when he comes back, he will have to start fresh. From zero, from scratch. But there's no guarantee. Because what happens sometimes, when a person willingly goes out himself, then sometimes Allah shuts the door behind him. And he doesn't get tawfiq to come back. Allah won't let him come back. This is why many people who become like that, they become so anti-Islam. Allahu Akbar. So the thing to make sure that you want to stay there. Stay there. And one of the things is people, doubts begin to creep in. Is Islam really the truth? Oh, science. One young man came into the masjid once and he said, well, Islam is a bit outdated now. Science has the answers to all the questions. So, I've gone into science and I've left Islam. Wallah, he's only a 14-year-old boy. The father came from Pakistan, Saturday, he brought him, but he wasn't listening. So he left everything and just went back. He sold out because this one's gone, but I'm afraid if I stay, I don't want the others to go. And the boy's mother was an English woman. She became Muslim because said, my wife is totally with me. She's willing to come with me. And I'm just packing my bag and going. Allahu Akbar. When people see so much trouble, Muslims on the receiving end, Muslims on the doing end. So sometimes people question, is Islam really the truth? You understand? So if you're going to know whether Islam really is the truth, first thing you've got to ask yourself, what is Islam? Before you can establish the truth of Islam, you've got to ask, what is Islam? Huh? If somebody asks you, what is Islam? What will be your answer? I'll suggest an answer. What is Islam? Islam basically teachings of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What is Christianity? Christians say whatever Jesus Christ taught. What is Hinduism? Teachings of Ram or whatever. Buddhism, teaching of Buddha. Judaism, teaching of Musa alayhi salam. So what is Islam practically? Although yes, Islam means, some will say means peace, submission to Allah, and believing in Allah, believing in Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But practically, what is Islam? Teachings of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We believe about Allah whatever Rasulullah said. What is Quran? Whatever Rasulullah said. How do we pray? Whatever Rasulullah said. How do we fast, perform Hajj, give zakat, do nikah, do janazah? However Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. And so the bottom line is, if you want to know if Islam is truth, then you want to understand and ask yourself, is Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam a true prophet of Allah? If he's a true prophet of Allah, then whatever Rasulullah said is haqq. You understand? And if there is any doubt in anybody's mind about Rasulullah's nabuwwat and risalat, then for him Islam is out the window. Even though he might pray, even though he may fast, even though he might have done Hajj, but if there is any doubt in anybody's mind and soul about the nabuwwat and risalat of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, for him Islam is out the window. This is why the first verse in Quran after Surah Al-Fatiha, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ, what does La Rayba Fi mean? No doubt. Your iman in Allah and His Prophet ﷺ has to be such, there's no scope, no room, there's no gunjaish of any doubt whatsoever. It has to be solid, firm. Your eyes can see wrong, your ears can hear wrong, you can think wrong, the world can turn upside down. But what Rasulullah said, that cannot be wrong. Because what Rasulullah said was from Allah. So how do we know Rasulullah was a true prophet of Allah? Allahu Akbar. Firstly, sometimes I start from here. Now I've only got 15 minutes. When I talk about this issue, I start from here. But subhanAllah, other things came along. Inshallah, hopefully they were useful as well. But there hasn't been a man like Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the history of humanity. Obviously, when I say it, you think Maulisa. Of course, you say it. Maulisa will say it. You might say it as well. But not only Muslims. And there was an American by the name of Michael Hart. He's written a book entitled Ranking of the 100 Most Influential Men in History. How many of you heard of this book? Yeah. How many of you actually read the book? Michael Hart, in his ranking of the 100 most influential men in history, put Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam number 1, the most influential man in history. He put Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam number 1, Isaac Newton number 2, Jesus number 3, Buddha number 4, Confucius number 5, St. Paul number 6. And then Alexander the Great number 6, Musa alayhi salam number 16, Alexander the Great number 34, Napoleon 35, Hitler 36. Julius Caesar number 65, and then Albert Einstein number 8 or 9. Christopher Columbus is up there as well, number 8 or something. But Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam number 1. And he said Muhammad is the only man in the entire history of humanity to have been supremely successful at secular and religious level. Many great religious leaders like Isa alayhi salam, like Buddha and like others, but they had no secular influence. Many great political leaders, secular leaders, conquerors, generals, many were atheists. Isaac Newton was also an atheist. One of the most intelligent men of recent times, there was a guy by the name of Stephen Hawking. You hear the name?
Yeah.
Great scientist, but an atheist. Many great leaders were atheists. He said Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the only man in the history of humanity who was supremely successful at secular and religious level. Isa alayhi salam was a great religious figure. According to the Bible, when Jesus was taken to the cross, there wasn't a single soul by his side. Even his most beloved disciples abandoned him. But when Rasulullah left this world, all the Arabs had accepted Islam. Rasulullah wasn't just Imam of Musalla. You know, some people say, brother, no politics in Masjid, please. Have you heard people say that?
Yes.
Do you agree, disagree? Huh?
Disagree.
Who disagrees? Who agrees there should be no politics in Masjid? MashaAllah. Yeah. Politics is also part of Nubuwwat. Sayyid Hadith al-Muslim, Rasulullah said, Bani Israel kanat tasusuhum al-anbiya. Bani Israel's politics were run by prophets. Politics is a part of Islam. It's another thing that modern politics has become dirty. But politics, state affairs, what concerns Muslims and their welfare, how can that not be deen? Some people say, brother, deen and dunya. There is no such thing as deen and dunya. For you, everything is deen. The opposite of deen is not dunya. Because your dunya is a part of your deen. The opposite of deen, of dunya is akhirat, not deen. رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الدِّينِ حَسَنَةً رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً. So your politics is a part of your deen. Anyway, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the only man in history who was supremely successful at secular and religious level. Many religious leaders had no secular influence. Many secular people had no religious influence. Rasulullah was Imam of Musalla, Imam of Commander-in-Chief in Badr, Uhud, Tabuk. He's also head of the state. Allahu Akbar. There hasn't been a man like Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, neither before nor after. And then Michael Hart went on to say, there's a fundamental difference between Muhammad and the other 99 names in that list. Some of the very famous names. Because all other 99 people had an opportunity to become the great people that they became. Isa alayhi salam, when he was born in Palestine, they were Nabis. Palestine was part of the Roman Empire at the time, Roman civilization. Isaac Newton had a chance to go to university and learn. Napoleon, Alexander the Great inherited an empire, a civilization. When Rasulullah was born in era of Jahiliyyah, Rasulullah, in spite of what he gave, he did not read or write a single word in his life. Born an orphan, he didn't inherit anything from his ancestors. Born a yatim, did not read and write, but yet left behind a comprehensive code of life, which doesn't just dictate what you believe, how you worship, how you live, how you treat your family, how you get married, how you pray your janazah, how you conduct your business, how you, all affairs of your life. In fact, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the only man in history to actually give people a code of life and a law. You know the modern laws which are implemented in many parts of the world? They are basically a follow-on of what's called the Roman law. There was a Roman emperor, his name was Justinian, and he put together many of the laws which had been in place in the Roman Empire for many centuries. So that formed the basis of the common or the Roman law. He didn't make it. It evolved over centuries. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the only man in history to actually give a law to people. A law which governs all aspects of life. And your personal affairs, your marital affairs, your inheritance, marriage, divorce. You know, many of the cases in courts involved, you know what? Financial matters and marital matters. Most of the cases in courts are to do around these things. Islam defined, Rasulullah defined laws, marriage, inheritance, criminal law, international law. Many other things which modern societies, United Nations have now agreed. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave their basis 1400 years ago. That in times of what, for example, when there are wars, then how you treat prisoners. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would give special instructions. And modern criminal law, international law is very similar to what Rasulullah told 1400 years ago. A man who did not read or write a single word in his life, where did he get that inspiration from? Allahu Akbar. Another scholar has stated, if nobility of purpose, achievement of result, if lack of resources, nobility of purpose, achievement of results are three criteria to judge the greatness of any man who dare compete with Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Born an orphan, inherited nothing. The civilization at the time known as era of Jahiliyyah. Rasulullah himself didn't read or write a single word in his life. Vast majority of the people around him didn't read or write either. But within a few years, they overpowered the mighty civilizations of the time. You know, there were two instances in history when the whole Christian world came together against the Muslims. The whole of Europe united in what's now known as the Crusades. And Salahuddin Ayyubi in 1187 took on the united, it's the modern equivalent of NATO. Salahuddin Ayyubi took them on and the Battle of Hittin in 1187 and defeated the united armies of Europe. And then freed Palestine from the Crusaders. Before that, in the time of Umar radiallahu anhu, when Muslims had initially defeated the Persians, they conquered Iraq, Sham, Palestine. Then the Roman emperor at the time, he gathered an army from the whole of the Roman Empire, 200,000, at the Battle of Yarmouk. Khalid ibn Walid radiallahu anhu, Abu Ubaidah ibn Jarrah, he was the commander-in-chief, and Khalid radiallahu anhu was one of the generals. He requested for 60 people, and then he took them on. Muslims were 30,000 together, the Romans were 200,000. and Allah gave the Muslims victory. And by the end of the battle, Romans had lost close to 70,000 men and Muslims had lost only 3,000. Khalid ibn Walid radiallahu anhu, by himself almost took on the whole of the Roman Empire. Such great men. Rasulullah inspired. Rasulullah gave him the title Sayfun min Suyufillah. And another man, great man, Allahu Akbar, Mahatma Gandhi, you might have heard the name, huh? He said, well, Muslims, when read history and they come to Alexander the Great, he might have been a great man, but not as great as Hazrat Umar. When Alexander, on his conquest, reached India, he wanted to proceed further. He was with the army. But his commanders and soldiers refused to proceed. They wanted to go back. They'd had enough. He's with the army, but they are not listening to him. Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu is in Medina, and his undefeated general Khalid ibn Walid, he was in a campaign in Palestine. Hazrat Umar gave orders for him to step down, and Hazrat Khalid did not utter a word. Step down. Hazrat Umar is not there, he's hundreds of miles away. But Khalid dared not disobey the Amir. He said to some of the people, oh people, when Muslims were fighting and they needed a general, they got me. I fought and I conquered for them. And when I conquered them, I defeated and I conquered their enemies, then they removed me. Umar removed me. And he said, somebody said to him, Khalid, don't talk like that. This is going to cause fitna. Because you say, when Muslims needed you, you fought for them. You defeated their enemies. You conquered their lands. And now they've been conquered and now you've been asked to step down. Obviously, you're going to cause fitna by talking like this. You know what Khalid said? As long as Umar is there, there cannot be a fitna. Such men Rasulullah produced. History hasn't done that, neither before nor after. There hasn't been a man like Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Just to leave you with one of the things, science teaches now. What has been at the forefront of science throughout history? Anybody, people have always been fascinated by the origin of life. How did it all begin? Huh? Many theories, ideas, hypotheses were put forward, but with time everything was discarded. Until the 1920s, there were a couple of men, very learned scientists. They came up after learning a lot of physics, mathematics, astronomy, algebra, all sorts of things. They came up with this idea that initially the whole universe was joined together. Then there was a big bang and it threw matter out. When you throw something, what happens? If I throw something from here, what's going to happen to whatever I throw? Huh? It's going to fall somewhere. It's going to come to rest. Depending upon the force with which I throw, if I throw something gently, it will fall here. If I throw something with strong force, might end up there. But it will come down. Huh? Why? Because there's gravity and there's friction. There's resistance in the air, so it will come down eventually. But when there was the initial bang, there wasn't any other friction in space. So when there was bang and the matter was pushed out, because there's no gravity to hold it back and no friction to resist, so the universe is ever expanding. You understand? They realized this 100 years ago, long after Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and long after the world evolved and they learned so much about science, astronomy, mathematics, algebra, calculus, differentiation, integration, trigonometry and physical laws, astronomical laws, and then they were able to come up with this solution that this is the best possible explanation. You understand? You understand the complexity? It's not easy to make such calculations. It took scientists 1300 years after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And a man, if it is true, as they say, this is the best possible explanation. If this is true, and the scientists, in spite of all the advance in technology and computers and so on, they haven't been able to disprove it or prove it wrong. They go along with this. So if this is the best possible explanation of how the universe started, do you think a man who lived 1300 years ago, did not even read and write, he could have known this? Huh? A man who did not read and write. It took some of the most learned and intelligent scientists who learned all sorts of scientific techniques and knowledge to come up with this idea. A man who lived 1300 years ago, could he possibly have known that? And if he said something to that effect, then how did he know it? You understand what I'm saying? Huh? In the Quran it says, Surah Al-Anbiya, أَوَلَمْ يَرَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا أَنَّ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ كَانَتَا رَتْقًا فَفَتَقْنَاهُمَا. Do the disbelievers not see that the heavens and the earth were joined together and we caused them to split? What does split mean? Bang! And then in another verse Allah says, وَالسَّمَاءَ بَنَيْنَاهَا بِأَيْدٍ وَإِنَّا لَمُوسِعُونَ. We made the heavens with might and we causing it to expand. How did Rasulullah know that? What took scientists 1300 years after Rasulullah to realize? How did that An-Nabi al-Ummi know that? It can only be that the Lord who made it happen told Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allahu Akbar. This is just one of the things. There are many things in Quran. So I was saying, my dear brothers, Islam is right or wrong, truth or false. The litmus test is Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Many people philosophically can come to the conclusion there must be a God. In fact, most people believe in some form of God. But who is that God? How does he want to be known? What does he want from us? What makes him angry? What makes him happy? If he becomes happy, what will he do? If he becomes angry, what he will do? That you can't know. For that, Allah chose prophets. And for us, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is that prophet, last of the prophets. A man like whom there hasn't been another man. Not before him, not after him. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, how did he become such a man when no other man has been able to achieve that what he has achieved? Allahu Akbar. It can only be that he was the man that he claimed to be. And if he is that man, then whatever he said has to be haqq. Whether we understand it or not, we might not understand. There is so much in Quran and Hadith about Rasulullah's prophecies, other scientific things which prove Rasulullah must have been and was the true Prophet of Allah. And if he's the true Prophet of Allah, whatever Rasulullah said is haqq. We can understand wrong, we can feel wrong, but what Rasulullah said cannot be. Now that is Iman. Now that is Islam. May Allah keep us on Islam as long as we live. And when our time comes to leave this world, may Allah take us away on Iman. ربنا تقبل منا انك انت السميع العليم وتب علينا انك انت التواب الرحيم. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى ال سيدنا محمد. سبحان الله وبحمده سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد ان لا اله الا انت نستغفرك ونتوب اليك. Ya Allah, we are your humble sinful servants, Ya Allah. You are our Lord, our Master, our Creator. Whatever we have, Ya Allah, is your mercy and fazl and blessings. Ya Allah, we ask you to keep us on the right path, Ya Allah. To enlighten our hearts with your love for your beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, love for Quran, Ya Allah, love for Islam, love for one another. And we ask you, Ya Allah, to grant us refuge and to protect us, Ya Allah, from shaitan and our nafs, Ya Allah, and the difficulties and hardships, especially whatever might take us away from Islam. Ya Allah, keep us firm and strong upon Iman and Islam, Ya Allah. Have mercy upon us, upon our parents, upon our children, and the whole ummah of your beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, especially those who are in difficulties and hardships. Ya Allah, grant them ease and comfort. Those who are ill, grant them health and strength and shifa. Those who left this world and return to your mercy, especially from our parents, Ya Allah. Have mercy upon them, enlighten their graves and make their graves gardens from the gardens of paradise, Ya Allah. Allahumma man ahyaytahu minna fahyi ila الإسلام، ومن توفيته منا فتوفه على الإيمان. وصلى اللهم وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا